Hello everyone, today I'm talking about something unique. I'm talking about issues with Wargame. Now, people have a lot of course, a lot of the same gripes, but I'm kind of trying to put them all into one detailed video about what are the actual issues with Wargame. And as you can see, you can probably read through. But these are what in my mind are the most common and really hurtful for the community when it comes to learning and knowing Wargame, and just Wargame's problems in general. So we of course have the first point, which is no tutorial. Um, the current tutorial is a PDF file, multiple text where you can click and read up on that, and that's just really with a game that is complicated like this, it's just not adequate, not even close. New players are discouraged, and they quit the game because they just don't know what to do. They go in and they see, all these, you know, here's what I'm supposed to do, but I don't know how to do it. They see, okay, here's some cool units. I don't know how to use them, where to use them, etc. Here's some infantry. Oh, these guys are cool. They have no idea what to do. But I guess the making the deck problem is much probably higher when it comes to the tutorial. But the tutorial just kind of basically explains what's going on, but it's just so bad. There's so many better ways to do this. To make a tutorial for a game like this, and it could just be just like how StarCraft's tutorial works, with progressively increasing the amount of units, familiarizing yourself with those units, and that's how I would do it. That's how I think is best for a game as complicated as this. Is you first start off using tanks. I think tanks are pretty much the simplest unit to use in the game, and you can just start using them. Okay, here's tanks, and give you nice little scenarios where you can reverse in and out of forest to have line of sight, lose on the ATGM, little shit tips and tricks like that. All you can fit into a campaign. You can do definite reverse. Hey, you need to reverse. There's a scripted campaigns, of course, where there's a bomber coming in. Oh, you have to reverse your tanks out of this forest, and then there's a text. Here's reverse hotkey, etc. Or you can set your own hotkeys. There's so many different ways, better ways to do it than what's being done right now. And this can only be like a 5-mission campaign, 4-mission campaign. Something that's really easy to do. It's something that anyone could write up and at least give people kind of a familiarize. I can't even speak. Just letting people know, how things work, and then seed, learning how radar works, learning how infrared, all that stuff. Just all those things you can put into a campaign with detailed, and people will know about it. And that pretty much allows people to not make many mistakes when it goes to the next set of maps, like learning the maps. You can put those into the trial campaign so people can kind of see how the maps are played a little bit. Maybe that's something that I think is a good idea, to let at least people tell them how the maps are played, how to play conquest versus destruction, what's good for whatever. If you like one, you should sure try it out. Maybe there's a campaign where you play one mission that's conquest, the other destruction. Hey, you can't lose this amount of units, but you have to kill this much, and you have 20 minutes to do it, or something like that. Something dynamic like that. So that's pretty much a summary of what I do to solve problem one about no tutorial, and just like keeping the player base, retaining the new players, putting them, encouraging them to play multiplayer, to learn more, because right now they're not no one's encouraging them. Eugene's not encouraging them. This PDF file is definitely not encouraging them to actually learn the game, besides how cool the game looks. Like, whenever you look at Wargame, whenever you see someone playing it that kind of knows what they're doing, or see highlights of it, they really, wow, this game looks intriguing, this looks great, this looks fun to play. And then they get into Wargame Red Dragon, and they're like, okay, wow, there's 1,500 units. I don't know what any of them do. I know, like, some of my country's units. I say I'm from America. I know a little bit of military stuff. Cool, that's great. I'm probably going to build an American deck. Wow, there's a certain amount of number of units in America. I have no idea what to do. What is activation points? That's a lot of questions probably people ask themselves when they get into building a deck. So I think all those can be solved quite easily. So the next is view profile. This is quite a interesting conversation, very long one, because you have the pros and cons. There are pros, there are cons. Um, so first off, you have noobs and high win rate players are kicked from lobbies, and making matchmaking difficult for people who want to play. So this is definitely something that's true in Wargame. If you've never seen my streams or anything like that, you will know that getting banned and kicked from lobbies is something that regularly happens. It's no surprise. Same thing with noobs. You have people with low win rates, low amount of games coming in, trying to play the game, trying to play with other people, and they get kicked. Now there are noob lobbies, which is great. Noobs can join. New players, I shouldn't say noobs, but new players can join and play them and kind of learn a little bit from these new player lobbies. Um, and it just makes the game more difficult than what it needs to be. Now everyone's go-to problem solver for this one is to have a matchmaking system to where everyone's given a hidden elo. View profile is not in the game. Everyone's given hidden elo when it comes to public games, and people can just queue up and play against other people. Now that's something I'm definitely not against. I think if they do it correctly, what I mean by doing it correctly is having a CS:GO style map chooser. So you can queue how many teams or queue how many maps you want to play, and then not play the rest, and then you queue up against a team that has one of those maps selected, and there you go. I think that's something that's pretty interesting. That definitely allows new players. That solves the new player issue because low elo players will be playing low elo players, and that means the skill level will somewhat be the same with balanced teams. Now you have the option to join up with a pre-made, which is you either go up against another pre-made or you put some higher elo players in the pre-made in the mix with normal players just for general matchmaking. And I think that's definitely a way to do it, but they have to do it well, because if they do it half-assed to where there's like a public elo system and people know everyone's elo and people can just avoid other teams, that's just not something I think is, it definitely will be a benefit from what's going on now, but it's something that I think needs to happen. They need to fix removing view profile from the game right now would still somewhat be an issue, but it wouldn't be as much of an issue because you have people who know everyone's names, so there'd be a lot of smurfing going on with name changes and stuff like that, which I guess is fine. So moving on from that point, again, I think how to solve that issue is definitely matchmaking, but again, it has to be done correct. The third problem is making a deck. Now, making a deck is just something that's so overwhelming. Whenever I first got into the game, I just saw so many units. I saw the stats. I had no idea what they did, and I didn't even know what vetting stuff did. I didn't know anything when it comes to making a deck. And this goes the same with having a tutorial. I think these are the two, like not having a tutorial and no matchmaking or anything like that is the two biggest issue that's really driving Wargame away from being kind of a mainstreamers game, somewhat mainstream, because it's definitely something. I've been looking for a game like this. Whenever I uh, didn't know Wargame was around, I was always looking for a game like this. It's something I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to play with people, and I've always wanted to control a lot of units and stuff like that, and use tanks, Abrams, and I've always wanted to do that. And finding a game like this, I was like, wow. But then when I got into the game, I was like, this is going to take a lot of time to learn, and people don't want to spend 10 hours learning and watching videos and reading guides and shit to learn a game. I mean, I tried to learn Hearts of Iron, and I fucking gave up because that shit's difficult, right? But I guess that's just me. But I think that affects a lot of other people as well. A lot of people bought this game, but we only see like what 3,000, 4,000 at peak times. So that's definitely one thing that I would like to see fixed. is that they in the tutorial they let you know, hey, this is what unit is better than the other. You can compare stats, etc. What do you want from this unit? Just no one really knows how to build. There's When it comes to building a deck, I guess no one knows like what everything does when they first get into the game, which is definitely not something that's bad. I mean, not knowing something and then learning about it's great, but the issue is that there's so many things that no one knows about, and again, I'm going back to not having a tutorial. It just needs to be thorough and detailed when it comes to making a deck process. I think that's better to have your own separate, either a video or an actual tutorial where it's guided. It can show you, hey, you can, there's an arrow pointing to a p-value, and then there's a box that says, hey, AP value means this, this, and this. Armor penetration. This is what heat means. This is what, whatever. If they want hash in the next game, whatever. They could do something like that. It's definitely easily solved, and it puts this game at a much higher level when it comes to learning from a new player perspective. And I think solving these issues just take time, and they take someone at least at Eugene to say, hey, we have some issues and we can solve them, but it's going to take some time, and that's definitely something that needs to be done. Who knows if they're going to actually do it? But it is what it is. But I think those are the three main issues when it comes to the game. There's of course some other issues with the engine. The two weapons at a time, one weapon firing. That there's another other little small issues when it comes to the war game, but I think these are the main ones that are really, really, pulling war game down when it comes to just being a fun game for everyone. Right now, it's just like only experienced players. It really drives new players away. Like it's so I always see videos where people are commenting, "Wow, this game is so fun to watch you play because." You know what you're doing, and then I'm so bad because I don't know what I'm doing. That really irks me to see that, because I really wish that people they're losing profit and revenue when it comes to, oh yeah, I bought Wargame, but I have no clue how to play it, so I wouldn't buy it because I have no clue how to play it. That's just something that really makes me sad, because I would love for more people to play the game. I would love to have more competition, more people learning, more people getting better. That's something I've always wanted from the start. Whenever I started playing and teaching people, I've always wanted that. So, yeah, that's it for today's little video. I hope you guys enjoyed this little snippet of discussing issues and discussing problems. And maybe someone at Eugene will watch this video and kind of talked with, someone, and at least say, that this guy pointed out some issues, and I do think they can solve these. But anyways, I'll catch you guys in the next one.